Greetings, AMCers. We are here with Oren Peli, the writer and producer of the upcoming very scary Chernobyl Diaries, opening in AMC theaters this Friday, May 25th. You're going to want to check it out. Let's start with the basic premise for the film and what sparked the original idea for you.
Well, it actually started one day when I was just browsing the internet, and I ran into some photo blogs and videos of people who actually went into Prypiat, that's the abandoned town next to Chernobyl, and they went on these tours. And I guess I didn't know until then that you can go on tours, and if you're going with a tour guide that knows where it's supposedly safe and you're only there for a short amount of time, you can go there, and people do that. And I looked at all the photos and all the videos, and I thought it was absolutely amazing and fascinating, and could make a great setting for a really scary horror movie.
It absolutely, it makes a terrifying setting for a horror movie because it's playing on a couple of different fears. I think one is the fear of radiation and what it can do to you, which is ultimately technology. And then the other thing is just the fear of human error and doing something really silly, like taking a tour of a radiation zone. For you, what is the key to scaring the bejesus out of people?
Well, I think it's a combination of different factors. For me, a lot of what scares me is the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
In this case, you have a group of people who think they're just going on a regular day trip, and they find themselves in a foreign country, stranded in a very unique, there's no other place like it on Earth. It almost feels like post-apocalyptic. They're stranded there in this kind of, this ghost town setting. No one's coming to help them. There's the factor of radiation.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of all of that, suddenly in the middle of the night, they hear a scream or a cry. And, what is it? Is it human? Is it inhuman? And the fact that you don't know what it is and you don't know how to defend yourself against it, to me, that's scarier than, anything else.
Absolutely. And it also has this sort of, look, you're the mastermind behind the Paranormal Activity franchise, which is so popular. And this also has that, it's not the found footage, but it has that very realistic tone to it. How important was that to you in the creation of the film?
It was very important because even though we decided it's not going to be a found footage film, we wanted to capture sort of like this sense of realism. We wanted it to feel like you're actually going on the tour with this group of people as opposed to watching actors, acting out.
Right.
So we used a lot of different shooting techniques to make it feel almost like a documentary, and we let the actors improvise in many cases, so it doesn't feel like they're just reading lines. And the combination of all of that makes it feel almost like, we're not saying it's a documentary or found footage, but it's almost like you're watching instead of a horror movie, you're watching a documentary where horrible things happen to people.
Yeah, well, and it has that feel, you sort of feel sucked into it as you're watching it. I think one of the fun things about watching a horror movie, because I'm a lifelong horror fan, is kind of judging the actions the characters are taking. It kind of brings you into it even more. As a writer, do you ever have that don't go into the basement moment where you're writing something for one of your characters and you think, oh, don't do that?
Well, you have to go through that process all the time. You have to make sure that the characters, make decisions that you may not sometimes agree with them, but they still need to be plausible.
Yeah.
So you always have to ask yourself, what would I be doing in that situation? And sometimes, the characters in the movies, like people, make, bad decisions, and sometimes they pay for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's absolutely part of the fun of watching these films. So for you, now that you've seen it, having produced it and written it, what's your favorite element of the movie? How would you recommend it to AMC moviegoers?
Well, I think we have a lot of great things about it. I really love the style that we created, and the actors were so phenomenal, and our director really got amazing performances out of them that feel natural. I think ultimately what I hope people will take from the movie is the fact that it's scary. I think we have a lot of great scares, but more than that, it's like the sense of tension and like the slowly increasing sense of paranoia and helplessness and loss of control when you find yourself in this situation and there's no way out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here. We are really, really, really looking forward to seeing this on AMC screens. You can check it out starting this weekend, starting on May 25th. Make sure and do it. Thanks so much again.
Thank you so much.